I also ask to yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman's recognized.
We're here today because over a month ago, a courageous employee or detailee or contractor within the intelligence community brought to the Inspector General a complaint that the Inspector General reviewed. He had 14 days to review that complaint. The Inspector General found that complaint credible, found that complaint urgent, and found that that complaint should be provided to Congress as the whistleblower intended. That complaint then went to the Director of National Intelligence, who had 1 week to review it, and then the statute says that complaint shall be provided to the committee. Not may, not might, not if the DOJ doesn't write an opinion, not if the White House doesn't like it. It says shall transmit to the committee. And the reason Congress wrote the statute that way is that, particularly in the intelligence community, we are reliant on whistleblowers. Through the vast majority of our hearings, there are no witnesses. They're not conducted in open session. There are not outside stakeholders who can tell us that what this agency represented or that agency said is not correct. We are reliant on the intelligence community to self-report, and most of the time they do, but when they don't, we are completely reliant on whistleblowers. If the whistleblower process doesn't work, if the subject of a complaint by a whistleblower can be held up by the subject of that complaint, that is, if a whistleblower says that the impropriety that they have evidence of was committed by X person, and X person is given the discretion to decide whether Congress ever sees that report, that system is broken. That's certainly not how Congress intended it. And presuming that this complaint involves the conversation that we are now witness to, because some readout of that conversation was made public, that whistleblower may have been trying to communicate to the Congress that the President of the United States was pressuring a foreign president to manufacture dirt on his political opponent for help in his presidential campaign, and doing so at a time when the President of the United States was withholding military support that we approved on a bipartisan basis. And now we see that readout says that the President, after the Ukraine President expressed the need for further arms from the United States, our President said, we're doing a lot for Ukraine. We're doing more for Ukraine than other countries. But you know something? There's not much reciprocity here. I have a favor I'd like to ask. I want you to investigate my opponent. And I'm going to have my Attorney General and my personal lawyer follow up with you. This was the constant theme of the President's request to the President of Ukraine. It wasn't what are the national security needs of Ukraine. It wasn't what are the economic needs of Ukraine. It wasn't what are the separatists doing in Ukraine. It was, this is what I want from you. I've done so much for Ukraine. We've done so much for Ukraine. This is what we want of you. Now, the idea that a complaint with these allegations, if indeed this complaint is about this call, would be withheld by Congress and would be withheld on the basis of an opinion written by the Attorney General, someone who was mentioned in that very conversation, screams of conflict of interest, if not far worse. Now, when we brought this resolution up a month after this complaint was filed, when we brought it up in committee, in the Rules Committee last night, the argument was, this is premature, and the argument hearing today is, this is post-mature. I guess this is never mature. It's never mature for the Congress to insist that the director follow the law. Apparently, we need second opinions on whether shall really means shall. That's why we're here. If we don't validate the whistleblower process, if we leave the whistleblower unprotected, even as the President suggests that the whistleblower has somehow betrayed his or her country, that system is broken, meaning corruption will not be exposed. And the corruption here involves the suborning of our national security to the president's political needs. That's what's at stake here. And that's why I urge my colleagues to support this resolution